We're here at StripCon with Taffeta Darling. If I can say that, I'm sorry. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. How's the con go for you?
Really good. Actually, today's been really great. Like, I've been selling out of prints and most of the stuff I bought at Paris, so it's good. The business is good.
Awesome. How long have you been in the cosplay?
Probably since about the beginning of 2010. Like, I've always gone to these conventions. I've been going to the stuff put on by Ben and Mark probably for about 6 or 7 years now. And in 2010, like, I got just a little bit more confidence and decided that I wanted to, start dressing up and stuff. So only a few years in costume, and it's kind of taken off, been really weird, and people have been really supportive. It's different.
So why did you decide just to be a little different, just do something a little bit more creative, or just trying to get in the mood of the con, or?
Well, I started off really just kind of being like a model for different photographers, doing a lot of pinup, a lot of like swimsuit stuff, and given the opportunity to do something that I wanted to do, I had crafted a Zatanna costume, and so it just kind of transitioned, and I kind of was getting away from the pinup scene because, like, everybody was a pinup. Everybody, girls will do this for free. So, it's hard to actually make money as just a regular pinup model. And then I started working with different artists, like with Show Enough Studios and, like, with New Noir Studios, and then it just kind of, like, transitioned from there. And, I think it's like, I guess like athletes, they have like their own, they want to be like, like Mike, they want to be, the next Maverick, what's his name, Dirk, everyone, and for me, like, sadly my superheroes and my heroes are fiction, so I just decided I was going to become them in my own special way, and that's kind of how that started.
Who is your favorite hero?
Oh, wow. It's always hard.
Okay, name 2 or 3.
Yeah, well, pretty much in the DC universe, it's going to be the Bat family. I'm a big fan of Dick Grayson. I think pretty much he's like the heart of the DC universe. He started off with Batman. He went on to Teen Titans and eventually became his own, his Nightwing. And I think he's got more of a heart than a lot of the other characters from DC. Just because he touches and he's trained and he's been a mentor to so many other people in the DC universe, I think, to me, he's kind of like the pulse of DC. So he's my absolute favorite in Detective Comics. The Marvel Universe, I tend to go towards Jean Grey, and I'm also a big fan of Magneto and Prince Namor. Like, I will defend, like, Namor. Like, people give me so much slack. They're like, really, Namor? And I'm like, yeah, he's a prince. Hello. So
it's the wings on the feet.
It's always the wings on the feet. I can't help it. I get that all the time. Like, it is. It's those cute little wings. I can't help it. But, there's something about him being like just kind of the anti-hero in a situation to where, like, if he's fighting either, like, Osborn, or, if he's fighting against the Avengers, or now he's, like, with the Avengers and the X-Men. So he always tends to look out for his own kin and, like, make sure that, his people are taken care of first. And I've just kind of respected that out of all the characters.
Is the arrogance part of it, too?
Maybe.
I thought so.
There's something.
Well, it's not arrogance; it's confidence.
It is, and like some of the stuff I've read back in the day. I have these comics, and he's like, "You dare say this to the Prince of Atlantis?" And I'm like, "Yes, you tell him. I can't help it. I do. I like his confidence and his ability to just like laugh at everybody, and I'm gonna do whatever. So I'm a big fan of Prince Namor.
Okay. What other projects are you doing right now?
I have this today, obviously, and then coming up in September, there's an art show called Vinyl Thoughts, and it's artists that come around from, like, the Texas area and Austin area, and they work in pretty much just vinyl toys. And so this particular theme is called graphic novel. So anything that's been, like, in a comic book or a graphic novel, they're going to do some sort of, like, toys, custom toys that they're, sculpting themselves and stuff. So I'll be out there working that event. And then in October, I have Fan Days Dallas, New York Comic Con, and then Wizard World Austin. So October is definitely going to run me in the ground.
Wow, yeah, because you're talking about 2 or 3 weekends in a row.
Back to back. It's like October 7th, then I have October 16th, and then I have October 19th or whatever it is. Yeah, so it's literally back to back. It's definitely going to wear me out. But thank goodness I don't do like the Yule cons or any end of the year cons, so I can like recuperate in November.
Speaking about cons, I had already mentioned to this before our interview, but I do want to say on public record, I do thank you for your video that you posted on YouTube regarding the negative reaction to the Dallas Comic-Con in May.
Yeah, everyone's going to have their own opinion, and, like, I've been going to these things, and I've just seen them grow from, like, the Richardson to the Plano, just get bigger and bigger, and for me that's awesome, because the bigger we get, the more guests are going to come, the more opportunities, like, I have to get the George Perez's or the Neil Adams to come out, because that was Neil Adams' first time to do a fan days at Dallas Comic-Con, and I got to interview him. I talked to him for 20 minutes. I got stuff signed. I picked his brain on his new Wolverine project, and that's awesome, because we wouldn't be able to have those guests if we didn't have the fans coming out and demanding it. So for all the negativity that was said out there, to me it was just like, you know what, not a lot of people feel that way. The people who did feel that way, in my opinion, were the people who didn't plan. I think there's a way to go to a convention 2 days or 3 days and do everything you want to do. You've just got to be able to, pick and choose, and I did, and I got everything I wanted signed. I met Kevin Conroy, I met Neil Adams, I met a lot of cool people, and I got a lot of stuff, and I was quite the drama queen towards the end of the day, but that's just because I was wearing 6-inch stiletto boots. But that's my own that's my own fault in planning. Now I know better. But I had a good time, and I felt bad for anyone who didn't, because it was a really good convention. Like, half of my friends are the artists who are here, and those guys did better in 1 day than they had, like, in previous conventions in 3 days. And to me, it's like, that's what you want to hear, because then they have more money to keep putting out this art. So thank you for that. I had a good time.
Well, plus the fact that they know it's so well back.
Exactly. I'm
sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead.
It's just, we want them to have a good time, so not only will they come back, but they'll tell everybody else who may get invited, say, hey, we need to go.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It really is worth it. And I know, and the good thing about Mark and Ben is they listen to a lot of the fan feedback, a lot of the negativity and the positive, because now it's 3 days. Now they have, different concession stands set up throughout the convention. They have limited, even more of a limitation on presses or passes and stuff. So, I mean, these guys are fans just like us. They don't intentionally try to screw everyone over or make your day or your convention experience bad. They want you to have a good time, and I think that's what people just need to remember, is that they're putting it on just for us as well, so as much as themselves. So
kind of going back to cosplay, you've been in it for what, two and a half years? Okay. The recent trend of Geek being popular or being in and cosplay too. What's your thoughts about that?
Wow, I wish being a ridiculously big geek was a lot cooler in junior high, because I probably wouldn't have ran home or had my books knocked out of my hands as much. Because, like, I went to school in full headgear, my glasses, I was the girl that sat at the end of the cafeteria table reading my comics. I get a little tired, I think about it, and I was really picked on just for being myself, and so it's nice to see it come into mainstream, but sometimes it's frustrating, because it's like, this is who I've been all my life, and I've got so much heck from being myself, and now people, it's, oh, I can go, to a movie, and then, I'm going to go buy a Captain America costume and then be Captain America. And I can support that and I can appreciate that, but there's just a little bit of bitterness in me inside, because it's like, I got my butt kicked constantly for liking that.
Hard work, and someone just walks in and is able to do it with no problem.
Yeah, and there's this huge thing with, like, not only with that, but, like, the fake geek girl. There's this huge drama that's going on. Joe Peacock had this huge interview, and to me, people are like, well, you see women in referee costumes at, baseball games or boxing matches, you want them to know. Actually, that would be really cool if not only if they could look attractive, but they know their stuff, Like, if I dress up as, like, the Black Queen from the Hellfire Club, I'm going to school you a little bit on Sebastian Shaw and the Hellfire Club, or the same as Batgirl. And so some people are like, well, you should just be happy that it's coming mainstream. It's like, I am happy that it's mainstream, but, it's going to wow me and make me even more excited if you actually know what's going on. And that's just the same in, like, any genre. Like, if you're going to be a booth babe at a video game, rather than, like, getting naked and putting a controller in your crotch, why don't you show us some of your actual gameplay, stream that live. And that's kind of what I do, rather than, like, taking my clothes off. How about I just let you watch me and I'll set up my camera, play a game and win, and then we can talk. So exactly. And so, and it's not to be, a hater or to be disrespectful, but it's just weird, because everything is so geek chic these days, and it's a shame it wasn't like that 15 years ago when I was still struggling just to eke by and not get my butt kicked in high school. So.
Okay, one more thing. Something I noticed. I noticed one website. This was late last year, early this year, and I just kind of want your opinion on this. They were running a cosplay contest. Who's the best cosplayer and all that kind. And when it came down to the final two people, one of them bought store-bought costume, where the other one created her own costumes. And I noticed that the comments were, "Oh, well, she buys her costumes. They're off the shelf. She's not a true cosplayer." What's your feeling about that?
Sadly, I would definitely say, because there's a lot of people who throw cosplay at the end of their name that do just buy their costumes online. And to me, it's more costuming. This was actually, I didn't make this costume. This was made for me, and I'm thankful for it. But, my Zatanna costume, I went to, a magic store and bought the hat. I went to, an old costume shop and bought, the tuxedo, because I can't sew, but I'm not going to buy something that's mass manufactured, because to me that limits the creativity. I think cosplay is about being creative and, coming up with how you want the character to look, coming up with design, and putting it together on your own. I think that's half the fun, is, making this whole costume and slipping it on and being like, yes, I did it. I mean, anyone could just click on Party City and be Green Lantern or Captain America. And I think that's just, okay, you like to play dress up. I think there's a big difference in the line, and I think somehow it gets kind of blurred, because to me there's a difference. And it's when I do judging for costume contests, usually I'm going to wind up giving the points to someone who, even though it may be slightly defunct, if they actually invested some time and they obviously tried and they put it together themselves, I'm going to probably wind up giving them points more so than someone who bought the Dark Phoenix. She may look great and have a red wig, but me being the type of person I am, a creative person, I'm going to go to the person who tried a little bit harder.
In closing, any websites you want to plug? Your own website? And
Me. You can find me at thetaffetadarling.com and also at curvesandcomics.blogspot.com.
Thank you, and I hope you have a good rest of the StripCon.
Yeah. StripCon, and what are you doing there? I'm actually in clothes, I promise.
Exactly. I got that too, so don't worry. So, thanks.